Hey, and welcome. Miss Kira Speaks, left-handed on you guys for a change. If you hadn't noticed, please do your girl a huge favor. As always, stick around to the end of the video. Help your girl get that retention time up. Hit the subscribe button and share with your friends, okay? Sharing is caring, and turn on your notifications because between me and YouTube, you just never know. We are here for another recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15, episode 15. I told y'all I was coming back. Sip and spill the tea. So you know, when we get the beginning of the episode, we are checking in with a bunch of people. So we open with Kenya and Cynthia, and I think we're at Kenya's location where she's going to have the new Kenya More Hair Care Studios, and Cynthia lets her know that her divorce is final, and she's telling Kenya the same thing we've all been saying: wrap it up, baby girl. She says her and homeboy done been married and divorced, and Kenya is still going through a divorce. We see Sheree, and she's talking to Cairo and his lady about doing a nursery for Mecca. We check in with Marlo, and she's talking to Sharon. And now, does it say Sharon is Marlo's therapist? The whole time it's been saying life coach, but you can get down in the comments and let me know if your girl is wrong. They're discussing what I'm assuming is how soon is too soon for Scott Lee to meet the boys. Yeah, Todd means he's getting this movie done in 10 days. And he says that Drew is a professional, that he doesn't have to tell her things 10 times. Well, thank God for small favors, okay? So then we start to get into a little more developing stories. We go over to Sonia and Ross, and they are heading to check on the baby with Deuce in tow. Now, we all know he's been wanting to be a big brother, and in her confessional, Sonia says that, you know, she knows it goes against people's better judgment, but she says she doesn't want to keep him in the loop. He is the loop. Dr. Jackie comes in and she's like, this isn't a pediatric office, and she seems a little concerned. But nonetheless, she confirms the pregnancy. Sonia's about 5 weeks, and it's a geriatric pregnancy because she's over 35. Now, Miss Sonia did not want to hear the word geriatric, but we women know that especially the older we get, we have to be very vigilant in all areas of our health, especially childbirth. And I believe I also mentioned in my last recap that I didn't think it was a good idea for Deuce to have this much knowledge so soon, especially with what we know is the outcome of the situation, but it's her child. Now, if you watch Married to Medicine, you know Dr. Jackie is there to bring you the actual factuals. She's reminding Sonia that they're seeing 3 to 5 more maternal mortality rates in blacks. And she says for this reason that she takes it very seriously, guys. That is just so scary. So she says at 10 weeks that they can find out if it's a boy or a girl. Now, why did I do that with my last one? Because I was also a geriatric pregnancy with my last one, and then had the nerve to be disappointed when they did the sonogram and they were actually right. It's amazing what they could tell so soon. I'm like, how could you tell from my blood what the baby's going to be? But indeed, they can. So it's the past shoot day 4, and Candy says that Todd is a typical Leo and that he likes to be in control. So basically, she just lets him unless it's something she feels very strongly about. Child, life and marriage is about balance. So Todd is on his Tyler Perry trying to save a buck. So he's using locations like things that they own, like Blaze, other restaurants, their home, to save him a cute little, I think he said 6 figures on location fees. Now, I don't know why they had to film in their bedroom. I mean, Drew brings it up later and Candy brings it up later at the sip and see, but like, y'all didn't have a guest bedroom y'all could use, or a bedroom in the pool house, like something, anything. Okay, so Moyetta, she comes through to run lines, and Drew says, you know, that for the sex scene that she may need a little guidance, that she's a little nervous. Forever the professional, Candy says, oh, don't worry, they have an intimacy coach. Drew says it's her first sex scene and her first sex scene with a woman. So we get into the whole thing of Courtney calling Drew a bitch. Monietta rolls the tape, and Kandi is me. Now, is she talking about Drew or Sonya? Monietta didn't seem to think she was talking about Sonya. Like, why would she be calling Sonya a bitch to her face? Child, who knows? But again, Kandi wasn't sure. But what we all were sure about is that Courtney definitely used the word. Now, let's skip to the past shoot, day 6. Yes, I am going out of order. Drew is in her trailer with yet another assistant. What was his name? Let me get his name, because Sir was brought up later. Sir was brought up in the reunion, and I just want to address him. Danny. So she's drinking a Red Bull, she's going over lines, and she's complaining about, filming in Kandi's bed, like I said. And she says if it's not Lifetime or better, she ain't doing it no more. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, Drew wasn't really killing it like that in the past. Just my opinion. Don't shoot the messenger. Go ahead and catch the replay of my live recap of the past. I'll try to put it up top somewhere so you guys can check it out if you haven't already. And also, I did mention, I think in my reunion recap, that Drew is doing Boxed In 2, which Boxed In 1 is now on Tubi, but Tubi gets certain things anyway, and Boxed In 2 is on Peacock, but I guess Peacock is a little more highbrow than Lifetime. Child, I digress. So then in comes Ralph. Danny, the assistant, leaves, and she wants, Ralph to run the lines with her. They talk about Drew coming in so late because, Ralph just got to take a dig or complain about something. So she's talking about how happy she is and how she really connects with the character. She's a wife and she's submissive and she's a lesbian. No, Ralph, that's not what she meant. But they laugh it off, and then he low-key is complaining about taking care of them kids. I'm like, Ralph. Then, if it couldn't get any worse, we get into some awkward conversation. Did you kiss her? Did you give her some tongue? Drew's like, this is work. It's professional. But that doesn't stop Ralph. He keeps going, and it gets more and more awkward by the minute. Drew is totally creeped out and really wants him to leave, and so were we. And she just wants him to take her seriously as an actress. So we see Sheree meet with Lance, who's supposed to be a well-known party planner about this sip and see, and she wants the guests to wear shades of nude. I thought that was too cute. They go over their design ideas, and she says the budget is, there is no budget. Now, what I have heard, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, is because I thought maybe Bob paid for some of it or Bravo paid for some of it, because she don't pay. But they said it was in People magazine, so maybe People magazine was the one who covered this very extravagant sip and see. We see Marlo, and she's having an event for successful people who have made it out of the foster care system. And I said, here we go again, trying to paint Marlo in that favorable light. We see Sonya and Courtney show up to support her, and Marlo is disappointed that Sheree may not make it. The event gets rolling, and everyone is wearing blue because it's the ribbon color for foster care. They're giving out awards. Pretty nice event. Scott Lee, he shows up to show his support. Sonya is over the moon about him being there. And finally, Sheree shows up. Child, Marlo was more happy to see Sheree than she was Scott Lee. So we see everyone getting ready. It is sip and see day, and we are over at Chateau Sheree that is looking amazing as per usual, and the decor is top tier, okay? Looks like Sonya is the first one there. Surprise, surprise. And the producers are asking, like, is this for Mecca or is this for you coming out as a Glamma? Sheree says it's both. Okay, Sheree. Now, Marlo has a funeral, so she won't be able to attend. But we see everyone else start trickling in their shades of nude, looking right. Bob comes in, child. He looks hot. He looks disheveled, talking about he gonna go get a drink and watch the football game. So it looks like the party started around 4. Shamia showed up around 5. And surprise, surprise, Shamia was somebody who actually knew Courtney. Kandi later was surprised because, I mean, if I had some crickets, I'd insert them there. Now, when Kenya's coming in, they ask for her name, and she's like, Kenya, come on now, you should know my name. And I just had to laugh. I was like, come on, Kenya, stunt, because they playing, baby. Like, this is, what we're here for. So Akila comes in blue. Child, I think Candy pointed out earlier because Candy was saying something about wearing like a hot pink or something like that. And now she did have nude under it, but child, I guess Kenya can tell that Sheree has spent a cute coin, or somebody has spent a cute coin. Now we see Sheree and she has on this hot pink dress, which I swore was red till I saw the picture on IG. And she says that she felt like a single mom because, you know, Bob was a full-time professional football player, but she says that Bob has been showing up for his grandchild. They take pictures and Martell comes in the family colors. Child, it's the first time for Martell and Bob meeting, and Sheree's like, you know, it's important for the kids that they get along. Child, Sheree got grown behind kids, but I get it because even when they're grown, you still got to be around each other. You know, you got babies like this, weddings, etc. So Drew pulls up and she calls Candy and she says she's outside and she's not going to come in. There's a man outside that assaulted her. Now, when I first saw the clip, when they played it on one of the trailers, I thought that it had happened right then and there, but no. Candy's like, oh, the assistant, I forgot about that. Child, Anthony is still hanging around, which is shady of Sheree and just weird because wasn't he the one talking about you didn't pay? So Candy and Monietta, they head outside to talk to Drew, and Drew says, you know, she was trying to build a friendship with Sheree, and she explains in her confessional that she was out at a lounge and Anthony came in, her shoes were on the couch, and he threw them at her. The cops were called. So Drew, she doesn't feel comfortable coming in. Candy's trying to say, you know, the house is big, but Drew, she just doesn't feel comfortable. She doesn't want to look over her shoulder. So Drew leaves and they, you know, go back inside. It's been a couple hours and they are still waiting. So Sheree finally comes on out and brings everybody upstairs. Now the producers are asking her, why is Anthony here? And Sheree lets us know that he made the connection between her and Martell. Now, this caught me off guard because your girl doesn't watch Huntsville, but the streets be talking and the streets say that Martell ain't for the gays. Candy tells Sheree that Drew was uncomfortable coming in, and Sheree says that she's still cool with him, child. I told you Sheree is nobody's friend. And then Anthony starts trying to have a moment and talking ish about Drew. And I hate that they let these people come in and do this to the other housewives. It's absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. So Candy's trying to be diplomatic and she's asking, you know, if he threw the shoe. He says yes after she threw her bag at him. Child, I don't believe him. I can't do Anthony and neither can Candy. And I was kind of glad that Candy stuck up and said something. And she kind of said that, you know, her and Drew have been through their things, but she liked to get to the bottom of the mess. And she could tell that Anthony was at the bottom of the mess. So Kenya decides she wants to talk to Martell real quick. And, you know, they go over to the side and she tells him that she's always going to have Sheree's back and that when things went left, she didn't have anybody there to protect her. So she had to match that energy. Martell apologizes and he's like asking her kind of like, do you think you need to give an apology? And Kenya says that she was defending herself and if he was offended, you know, I think she said she was sorry for that, but she never cursed at him. And I said, Kenya, come on, girl, because you know they're going to play that beautiful bean footage. But they hug it on out. He says that he's going to stay on out of her DMs. Thank you, Jesus. Now, Sheree finally goes and gets Mecca. And I think they said it was around like 9 o'clock at night. Now, mind you, this was supposed to start at 4. I'm not really too clear why it was so late. If you know, you can get down in the comments and let your girl know. Now, they have her in this carriage and you're kind of rolling her around the party. And I was like, see, listen, I personally can't stand to sip and see at all. Now, when I had my middle son, he was born early. I had to push my shower back. So my shower, which only had like a handful, maybe 2 handfuls of people, ended up being a sip and see. And I really wasn't with the shits. Like all of those people breathing over the baby is a no for your girl. I'm like, go up on that balcony, hold little Mecca up like Simba. And do your reveal and then go take some pictures. Oh, there was too many people in that room and made my skin crawl, baby. So we are winding it down. Candy says this party was definitely for Sheree. They're taking pictures and then there's a woman in these pictures and everyone is trying to figure out who she is. Is that Bob's girl? She looks a little young unless he has another daughter we don't know about. This is what Candy was saying. And so everybody's like, who is this woman, Harpo? Kenya's like, well, she looks like him. Now he's already in the family colors, and Sheree decides to, be petty and pull Martell into the pictures because, I guess the situation that was going on that we didn't know who this girl was. Now, after everybody's asking Sheree who this woman is, Sheree insists that she doesn't know. Then she says, Bob introduced me to Candace, and I was like, well, how does she know her name? I guess they were saying the name with the ear shot so she heard it, and he introduces her as his daughter. Sheree said she didn't know. 26 years later, Sheree is finding out that Bob doesn't have 2 other kids, but 3 other kids. Now, I guess the whole timing of the situation is this kid was supposed to be before Sheree, is what I'm told. But Kenya in her confessional says she met Bob when he was cheating on Sheree with her friend, and she had no idea that he was married to Sheree. Yikes. Turns out Candace has met the other kids. Candy is shocked that she didn't know because, Miss Candy is worldwide. Bob Child decided to do his own reveal, his own sip and see at the daggone sip and see. In the back of my mind, I got New York in my head, and I am changing the words. I said Bob ain't shit, his dog ain't shit, his frog ain't. I was so mad at Bob. The ladies are over there trying to grill Bob, who says that Sheree was on a need-to-know basis as his wife. Bob is a mess. So Sheree says, once a piece, always a piece of sh. And then they just basically end the show with the ladies taking a big photo together. Now, this episode wasn't too bad. The Bob spin at the end kind of was like up the ante a little bit. And I'm like, it's sad that Sheree needs all of this just to have some type of storyline. But I don't really... We'll talk about it next episode, but I don't really think she knew. You can let me know what you think. Leave your comment on this episode or just let me know that you stopped by. Now, your girl, in the interest of timeliness, already did the live for the reunion, so go ahead and catch the replay if you haven't caught that already. I'll try to get the finale done and up as soon as I can with some additional content. There's a couple of things that I have whirling around in my head for sure. One thing you can come through for is Friday is the Ready to Love panel, and I think this Friday it's going to be on Shayna McDee's channel, so come through and support. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. I appreciate you. Peace.